Wow. It's amazing how technology has just made things so easy.
Absolutely.
So you're there. Amazing. It's amazing. So it's redirecting. I think that will be done in a couple of seconds.
Okay.
Just a few seconds, but I'm sure we're good. We're good. It's
Awesome.
so let me bring out your profile, just so that they get to know that this pretty doctor is not just pretty; she's got brains. So she has been recognized. Dr. Margaret Alabi is a growth mindset expert and seasoned leadership strategist. She is the CEO and founder of the Pivot Consulting Group. Is it Pivot or Pivot? An advising and professional development outfit that supports individuals as well as organizational clients in making the proverbial pivot to achieve their goals. A pharmaceutical industry leader in patient advocacy, Margaret leverages over a decade of corporate experience and more than 6,000 hours of formal training. She's a master in leadership strategy. Margaret is a highly sought after keynote speaker, a frequent podcast guest, and a regular feature in publications on leadership and culture. After paving our own way through the pressures of challenging corporate environments, Margaret now empowers individuals in their personal and professional evolution and also works to build cultures that promote authenticity and balance. That's not all. Margaret has been recognized for her impact in industry and the community as an Albert Schweitzer Fellow, a Voyage ATL Eden Gem, and the Junior League of Advertisers of the Year, among other accolades. Okay. Apologies about that. I think I have two devices on.
No worries.
Okay. 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 Margaret holds a Doctor of Pharmacy. No, sorry, I jumped that now. Margaret's technical background complements her role as a professional pep talker and chief encouragement officer on her clients' teams. Margaret holds a Doctor of Pharmacy degree from Xavier University of Louisiana and leadership coaching certifications from IPEC, Emma, and Gallup. She has served on several committees and non-profit boards, including the Young Professional Committee, the C5 Georgia Youth Foundation, and the Industry Pharmaceutical or Pharmacist Organizations Coaching Team. Outside of work, our hobbies include singing, roller skating, wow, and hanging with our standard, what is it, puddle puppies. Ooh, and Bo, okay, Bell and Bo in our hometown of Atlanta, Georgia. Ladies and gentlemen, those that are listening, please, with virtual, applause, please welcome Dr. Margaret Alabi. Whoa, welcome, welcome, welcome. Doc.
Yes.
I feel it's so great to have you here.
It is a pleasure
It'll be
to
nice
be here.
to have, great, just a bit technical. Can you confirm that those on YouTube and Facebook can hear us well. Can you please confirm that they can hear us, because I had to mute my own point here. All right. Doc, you're looking so radiant and beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, and I'm reading your profile.
It's a beautiful day here. Even though the sun is shining, it's actually very cold today. So random.
Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're on to an interesting journey today. Earlier on, I was reading your profile. I saw a bit of things that kind of intimidated me. And I'm like, whoa, a doctor of pharmacy. And I'm like, really? So why not dispensing drugs? We need more of you to come up with vaccines. But I'm glad you are helping to transform lives. So tell us that journey and why you switch. And maybe
Yeah. So let me start by saying that even though I'm a doctor of pharmacy, my claim to fame is that I've never dispensed a drug a day in my life. Unlike the typical role that you expect most pharmacists to play, I actually work in a pharmaceutical company. And as you read in my bio, I serve as a member of corporate affairs, and actually one of the few members of color that serves in that outward facing position, where I get the pleasure of working and co-creating opportunities that help to bring life-changing programs as well as treatments to patients around the globe.
Interesting. So tell me about this switch. So that what led to the switch? Because I'm curious, and I'm sure about what there's so much, back in Africa, they'll tell you parents want their children to go into pharmacy or medicine.
Yeah.
But you seem to have made that switch. So why? Why that switch?
Absolutely. So Omo Yoruba Nimio. And so yes, you are absolutely correct. My parents told me day one, the only option they gave me was doctor. So doctor of pharmacy was it. And when I was in school, I knew that doing the normal doctor thing just didn't necessarily appeal to me. So the switch actually started well before I got into my career. I got really familiar with what my strengths are. I am a talker. So naturally, speaking and ensuring that I have a role that allows me to talk and use one of my strengths was important for me, right? So while I was in pharmacy school, I started to research how can I use this degree in a way that best honors and serves the things that I like to do. Something else that really stuck out to me while I was in school was the fact that I wanted to have a large impact beyond a 5 to 10 mile radius of a store. And I knew working in a store wasn't going to get me that. So my first encounter with Gallup Strengths, which is what we're here talking about today, actually came while I was a student in pharmacy school. And it was the main reason why I was able to launch the career that I currently have now. And it is also the reason why I have decided to step into a coaching and consulting position to help other people identify what they're really good at, find a role that brings them joy and really allows their talent to shine through. And once they've mastered that, I help them move to the next thing.
So it would be nice to know. Tell us this strength. Tell us about this journey or this thing called strength.
Absolutely.
Joining us, I don't even know what we mean by strength. I've had instances where someone would tell me, "Am I a gym instructor?" Now I'm even start more of those questions because I'm planning to go on my 45-day challenge to building my art. collapsed. All right. So what is strength? Tell us about strength. Tell us about strength.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm glad that you said that, right? So as we're talking about strengths, we're not talking about muscle, okay? We're not talking about this. We are talking about the talents that make us all unique. Our innate gifts and our abilities are our strengths. So some of us from a very, very early age recognize what our talents and our gifts are. And others of us need a little bit more help to define what that strength is, and then actually begin to own that strength as a tool that we use to aid us in our success. So I'm going to raise my hand here because I was one of those people in the second group. I knew I had some gifts, but a lot of my gifts or talents were they weren't described as talents. Like I said, I was told I talked too much. I was just, a very precocious kid. I loved to think and ask questions. And so some people found those things to be offensive. It wasn't until, again, like I said, I discovered the Clifton Strengths Assessment that my true journey and a true clear path to success began to appear for me. So speaking specifically in the Gallup Clifton Strengths terms, I have a top 5 of relator. I have the strategic strength, activator, individualization, and maximizer. And I get excited when I think about these strengths because it really helps me to understand how I move around in this world. And for those of you who are not as familiar with your strengths as you'd like to be, just think of it in these 4 domains. So, all of our talents, all of our gifts, all of the wonderful things that make us us typically fall into 4 domains: how you do things, how you execute, right? Your ability to influence, whether it's influencing people to do something, influencing a change, influencing policies, how you build relationships, right? And last but not least, your ability to think strategically. These are the 4 domains that our strengths really fall into. And so when I discovered that I had those top 5, my life got a lot easier because I was now able to set very clear objectives about where I wanted to be and how I wanted to get there. And for those areas where perhaps I wasn't as talented, because I knew what my talents were, it was easy for me to recognize other folks' talents and connect and work with them to still help me achieve the goal. So the strengths journey is individual, but I'd say it's also one that allows you to bring other people along with you, because when everyone is working in their personal strengths, they are, we're all able to achieve that much more together. So 2010 is when I found out what my strengths are. And then in 2019, I decided it's not just enough for me to know my own personal strengths. I want to help other people around me, other people who perhaps were as lost as me at that time, to figure out where it is that they want to be and how to get there, and how to really embrace the things that come naturally to them so that they can have a clear path to success, whatever that looks like for each individual.
Awesome. And Doc, I almost didn't want to stop you because I just love the way you seem to have been, on it. Before I could ask a question, you seem to have answered it. So I think you must have some telepathic, strengths.
We're connected. We're connected.
Because just when I want to ask a question, you're answering, in my mind, and I'm like, whoa, is she reading into my mind? All right. So now, but I love how we've moved and we started to talk around the 4 domains. And just so that those that are listening, it's good to have a few people, I see a few people here on Facebook Shout out to Madam Marola. I see
Nice.
John Udo. John, I think John is on Zoom. I see Truman Abdb. Nice having you all. Yeah, I see Joanne. So just get ready with your questions because this promises, we just started, and this promises to be loaded.
Indeed.
So back to the 4 domains. I love when you started to talk around your own top 5 strengths. And then you said you got a full inkling or an understanding of how you needed to progress and with what to do. So please, can you help situate some of your top 5 strengths in whichever category you think that falls in, and how you were able now to progress on your journey, and identify those things that you want to.
Great question. Great question. So I love the way that you asked that question, because I think a lot of times we look at other people and we want what they have. And then so we try to take the steps that they take in order to get to where they got. And that is a losing battle, right? But when you understand what your strengths are, yes, you can get to that same place as that other person, but you can do it in a way that honors you and highlights you and helps you to preserve your energy when you get there, as opposed to arriving to the party, completely, tired and, disoriented, essentially. So when you look at my top 5, my top 5 primarily land in the influencing category and the relationship building category. So it's only natural that the role I have in the pharmaceutical industry is one where I get to build relationships. It's one where I get to influence change. Why? Because it's to me. It's easy for me to do. So when I'm operating in the domains that my strengths get the opportunity to shine, it's helpful. It's when we're operating outside of our domains of natural ability that we struggle and that we feel like we're not making the progress or seeing the success that our degree and our understanding and our education tells us that we should have.
Well, and I, when you mentioned struggling, and I soon started to go back to the thoughts around, some various analogies as to you have your left hand and you have your right-handed guy.
Yeah.
Now, so the strength, because they ask for the hand of your is it the strength, the arm of your strength, or all right?
Yeah.
But so the arm of your strength, right? And so you have someone that uses the left hand. It's so easy for you to use your right hand to write.
Yep.
And almost like how you describe your strength, you're able to easily communicate. Beyond communicate, you're able to influence. And so your discovery of that, you're able to do that seamlessly. Yeah. So if anyone is trying to be like Dr. Margaret, or you would have failed, because it would be like you trying to use your right hand when you are good at using your left hand. All right.
Absolutely.
Am I in order? And yes. So going by that analogy, tell us this whole strength. So are you saying that I can't learn how to be a good communicator? Are you saying I can't learn how to influence people? I may be confused.
Great.
That's the other thing.
Yeah, that's a great question. And again, this is where understanding your strengths comes into play. So when you understand where your zone of genius lies across those 4 domains, it makes it easier for you to do a little bit more stretching. And so when we talk about stretching in this form, it means that you can still be an amazing communicator. However, you will utilize your strengths to communicate in a way that is authentic and natural to you. If I showed up to this conversation today trying to sound like Oprah, which secretly I want to sound like Oprah, right? But if I showed up to this conversation today trying to sound like Oprah, I would come across as inauthentic, and the audience would be able to quickly pick up on the fact that, okay, this lady, something is not correct, right? Like she's not real. But and 9 times out of 10, when I encounter clients, I find that they are trying to emulate or imitate the person that they feel is most successful in their lives, while shutting down and really turning the light off on their own personal strengths. So strengths journey, or the strengths journey, is all about understanding how you can use a combination of your strengths to still achieve things. So for instance, with me, one of my top 5 is strategic, right? That falls in the strategic thinking domain. However, I would say that when I use my strategy or my strategic thinking mindset, I'm actually trying to figure out how to execute on something. So just because execution isn't in my top 5 doesn't mean that I'm not great at executing. It's just that I've identified the best way for me in my strengths to naturally get to a clear place of executing on whatever it is that I've set out to do. That also means that I'm aware of when I need to ask for help.
Wow. Okay, so driving that home, and I love the description you give around how you need to situate your strengths alongside your domain, and you kind of garnered some what you call mastery, so and you are constantly developing yourself. So, and for those that are listening, it's not just enough for you to discover your strength. It's almost like discovering some treasure. Okay, but beyond strength, there's a need to develop your strength. It'd be nice to have a copy of my book. Develop yourself, and then you begin to deploy yourself to the point where you have moved, improving yourself to the point of mastery. But it's an unending process. And, just when you said that, I just thought for those that are watching us, it would be nice to talk around the Reinvention book, because this is just improvement. And this is not just a sales stunt. It's like everyone in discovering their strengths must also now start to work towards developing set skills to take them to the next level. And so this is like a stop press. So for those that are watching, we have Dr. Alabi. She's going to be at the Reinvention boot camp. And I'm not going to even I've let the cat out of the bag, but I'm not going to tell you much more. Just know that she's going to be one of those that will be facilitating with me and a few others on the 21-day boot camp. And it's going to be massive. You can't even attend that kind of boot camp and not be transformed. So if you haven't picked up the book, well, wait, and then you probably would get it when you come up on the boot camp. So, Doc. So now I love that thing around your domain. So can we even start to talk about how you have used your strengths in operating at your area of expertise, particularly around influencing and relationship building? Please help us on that.
Absolutely. So there's not a moment throughout my day that I'm not using my strengths. So my top strength is relator. And that strength is centered around really going deep with every person I meet really quickly. So 9 times out of 10, when people first meet me, they feel like they've known me forever. That is huge when it comes to relationship building, but it's also huge when it comes to influencing, right? And so every single day, every minute, every second, every hour of the day, I am using my top 5, or my top 5 come to bear. One of my other talents that I didn't quite understand until I took this assessment and actually became a coach with Gallup is my activator strength. I like to get things started. Okay. If you want to get something new started, if you want to change a habit, or if you're looking to start a transformation, I am your girl, right? However, I may not be the person that's going to help you see it to the end. So I had to learn how to embrace the fact that I like to get things started and then I get bored really quickly. So some of you may be in the crowd and wondering why, you like to start things and perhaps you're bouncing around, and or you work with someone who doesn't get enjoyment from a changing pace or a fast pace. Perhaps it's because you're an activator like me, where you like to get things started, you're always curious about new things, and you're great in that moment at the start. However, you're not necessarily the person that has to bring that activity to an end, but you're a key player when it comes to getting that thing off the ground, right? Another one of my strengths that I love and I literally use in every interaction when I'm talking to people is a maximizer. I am a maximizer. I can quickly identify another person's strengths and I can help them to bring those strengths to the forefront, like literally help those people to amplify the things that they're really good at. And it's important to have folks like that on your team, right? Whenever you're looking to go far, it's important to have someone who knows how to maximize the ability of other people, because that means that your team or your organization is going to be primed for what we like to call like a very clean execution, because there's not going to be someone trying to hog all the spotlight. The maximizer is the person that is able to identify who's great at what and make sure that they get the work that aligns to their gifting and to their strengths. So there's not a day that I don't use my strengths. And I'll say, in addition to using my strengths, there's a very key factor here that I think we all should be aware of. And that has to do with the understanding how your attitude is coupled with your strength. So, there's some people that know that they're great at one thing and everybody knows that they're great at that thing, but their attitude is just one that just completely turns you off. So even if you want to work with them because you know they're the best, if that attitude is one that deters people from accessing your strengths and or giving you projects that that align with your strengths, you're probably not going to be making the progress and or seeing the success that you expect.
Now, I'm going to talk a bit around the attitude shortly. I'm going to talk around that. I'm going to talk around that shortly. You said something that struck me, like, almost like lightning. And that was when you started to talk around the role of the maximizer in a team. Okay. But right then and there, as soon as I asked that question, for the first time, it just occurred to me why, even though I'm referred to as the startup specialist, because I have as one of my top strengths, strategic. That's the first one. And I'm able to see options. All right. See options. But I soon realized that one of the things that's kept me to be beyond just starting, but finishing, is the fact that I have another strength called significance.
Yes.
So with significance and with strategy, I'm able to see the end before it becomes obvious to people. So I'm seeing the bigger picture. And because of that bigger picture, maybe that just spurs me to stay on, because actually I'm just a starter, I ordinarily would, should not have that need to continue, as a startup person. But I soon realized that so whenever there are projects, I have people say, Taiwo is the man for the job, because I'm able to see it follow. So a case in point, I had a project that we're doing, It was for 17 months and it was for a mobile payment banking license. And I stayed on that project for 17 months. Yeah, 17 months. And initially, people, even those that we started off, veered off. But today, everybody's better off for it. 17 months. I've had the project I was working on for about 24 months or so. It didn't look like it was going to happen. Okay? But when my abilities I used, so now it's just occurred to me now. I've actually used my strength in those regard, in those instances.
We use them all the time.
All the time. Whoa. And so if anybody's listening to you, listening to us right now, and anybody that's going to be watching the replay, we've just been having a fantastic discussion around strength. We're both certified Gallup strength coaches. We're spread across the globe. But there's something unique about what we're talking about today is to also highlight the peculiarity and uniqueness of each and everyone's strength. So if you only can just focus on your strength, you realize that you're a diamond on your own, all right, and nobody is able to compete with you at your own strength. If you're able to understand your strength and play to your strength. So if you haven't taken the strength test, I beg of you, please you could go online and go and do it. Or yes, even those in the team can drop a link just so that you can take this test and have an awareness first. Discover yourself. It's never too late. I stumbled on this. You stumbled on it about 10 years ago. I stumbled on strength about 4 years ago, and my life has never been the same again. Right? Now, it also helped me to accelerate my reinvention journey. And like I said at the reinvention immersion bootcamp, these are some of the things also we're going to be dealing with: mindset, self-limiting beliefs, understanding, awareness of oneself. All right, projection. No, but this is not the topic for today. Now, you talked around something called attitude.
Yes.
Attitude. And so you're saying that your attitude, all right, could deter you from actually also getting the full benefits, even when you play to your strength. Wow. Absolutely. Can you please help just open, this, open this up and let's just learn. I'm enjoying this.
Absolutely. So, it's interesting how we can understand what we're great at. And look, my hand is up in the air right now because like you rightfully hit on, I discovered strengths 10 years ago. However, it wasn't until about 2 or 3 years ago that I really began to apply pressure to the attitude that I approach my strengths with, to the attitude that I allow my strengths to shine through. And I think that's really, really important. I feel like I have found my own little success formula. And my success formula consists of knowing what my strengths are, but also being very clear on where my attitude is at any given time of the day. And how do you do that? You're probably like, okay, my attitude changes throughout the day several times. You're absolutely right. Your attitude does change. However, you're still in control. You still get to choose whether you want to be happy, sad, annoyed, invigorated, inspired, motivated, disgusted. You still get to make that choice. And there are some key things when you're trying to make the choice about what attitude you're going to put on for the day and couple with your strengths that you need to be aware of. There are 6 variables that tend to impact how our attitude shifts throughout the day. It sounds like, and it's very clear listening to you, Taiwo, and our various conversations, that the key one is our spirituality. Now, spirituality can be religiously focused, right? Meaning your belief or your connection to God. But I want you to go a little bit deeper than that. And Taiwo, you hit on it about knowing who you are. So that spiritual connection to understanding that while, yes, you are living in this physical body, you actually still have a spirit that can travel as you like it to with the help of your imagination, and or experience all kinds of emotions. So it's important to understand, okay, what is my spiritual connection? Another variable that can impact your attitude at any given point of the day is the mental, meaning stress, like what's impacting your thoughts, right? Are you running late to your next meeting? So because you're running late, you're going to be short and or snappy with the people around you, and or perhaps you're under some undue stress, and that undue stress is now impacting how your strengths and or your gifts are being experienced by other people. Emotionally speaking, right? That's another variable that impacts your attitude. Do you have an emotional support system that allows you to express your thoughts, right? Allows you to express your experiences and what made those experiences tick for you, whether it's something that made you sad today or something that made you really excited, right? um Socially speaking, do you have friends, or do you have a community, or do you have a support system, right? That is there for you, that you feel like you're socially connected and that you belong in a group. That's important. We try to act like that's not real, but it is a real thing. Last but not least, the other thing that we don't give a lot of attention to that impacts our attitude is our environment, right? An environment is not just the outside, like, stepping outside and being in the sun. Environment literally could mean your office space or your home. If those spaces are not conducive, warm, and or inviting, they're going to impact your attitude. And when your attitude is off, your strengths tend to get muted, meaning
Mm.
for all of this wonderful power that you
Now, can somebody tweet that? When your attitude is off, your what? Your strength gets muted. Are we good? I think we're having some glitches. Okay, are we having some glitches? Okay, I think we're having some glitches at the moment. I like to recognize some of the people I see. Oh yeah, I see my honorable. How are you, sir? Great to have you. I see Mr. Abimbola. Whoa. In fact, Mr. Abimbola, I need to unmute this now so that I can allow you to just say a word. What has this been like for you? I've given you the permission to speak. Mr. Bimbola. Okay, so whilst we wait for Mr. Bimbola, Mr. Nigoke, would you like to say something about how this journey has been so far for this afternoon? Okay, Mr. Yekini, I see you. Would you like to say a word? Wow, we seem to have a lot of men in the house today. I see Mr. Troman. Please unmute, just unmute and say a word, and let's have your thoughts around today's conversation. Mr. Yekini, yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I'm really excited to be here. And I must confess the attitude is very key, especially in doing business and in relating with people. The importance of attitude cannot be overemphasized. So attitude is 100%. Thank you.
Awesome. Mr. Ikini, just before you go off, it'll be nice to know, have you done your strength assessment or any form of personality assessment?
No, not at all.
But I think you need to do that because some of these things are not rocket science. So it would be nice if you want more details. I'm sure the team, they'll engage you on how to do some of these tests. And I'd like to have a personal one-to-one with you because you're right as to the role the attitude plays in business and in life. All right.
Yeah. I'll do that.
So please be contact, send a chat to me, and then we'll take it off. Thank you. So I think there's a Joanna. You're allowed to talk. Joanna. Okay, so I'm asking Mr. Trauman now. It'll be nice to know where you're logging in from. Okay, now I don't know what happened to my guest. For whatever reasons, I'm finding it difficult to find my guest. But she's here in the, so what could be wrong? What could be wrong? And this has been a beautiful discussion. Margaret, let me try and reach her. Oh, okay. I'm doing that right away. I'm doing that right away. Okay. Oh, great to have Margaret back. Doc, great to have you back.
Thank you. So in all transparency, my computer died and that wasn't plugged in. So I do apologize for that.
Wow, I'm sure that must have been traumatic because I can literally feel how you feel on a live event. Your laptop just goes powered off.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
It was a little bit traumatic. So now, okay, great. This is actually a great example of coupling your strengths with your attitude. There are some people who would not be able to make that recovery, right? Who would not be able to get back on camera and smile. I had an environmental trigger that could have potentially and negatively impacted my attitude. However, I made a choice in this moment to, one, own the fact that my computer died, two, get back on here because we're having such a great conversation that I actually am enjoying. Why would I now decrease or put a lid on my strengths because something that was kind of in my control or kind of not in my control happened, right? So that was actually a live demo of coupling your strengths with your attitude. There you have it.
Wow. I know a lot of things happens at the strength discussion series, and it's almost like we get tested on, so sometimes our attitudes are tested, our response mechanism, like you just, have done. And I love that you said something about the emotional, environmental, you said environmental collapse. I love that phrase you used, environmental hazard or mishap. Trigger. Okay, yeah, great.
It's an environmental trigger. And all of these things, all of these things impact how we show up. And if we're being fair, all of us want to show up as our best selves all the time. However, when we don't take into account those 6 things that I mentioned, our spiritual, our mental, our emotional, our social, environmental aspects, then it's hard for you to get a clear picture of what's impacting your strengths. Why aren't people recognizing me for my gifts, right? Well, how are the things around you impacting your attitude? Because once you've got a good grip or grasp on that, there's no way that people won't call you and invite you, just like you said, startup specialists, right? They know who to call for the job, not just because of your gift, but also because of your attitude. You're fun to work with. You don't, you make people feel valued. That's really, really important.
Thank you for such kind words.
You're welcome.
I'm trying to find you on screen. I don't know if it's from my end.
Yeah, I'm looking for myself on screen as well, and I don't see it. So that's interesting.
Okay, so that's, but it's okay. We know that that could be another environmental training. Now, but whilst you were away, one of those that joined us this afternoon, and depending on the part of the world that you're in, Mr. Yakini talked around the attitude. And he said, look, attitude is everything. It affects personal and business. I'm sure he's also going to be doing this. He's going to be having this kind of discussion. But before you went off, and it's almost impossible to think that we've almost used an hour. Okay, and we wrap it up short. But there was something he said. He said, once the attitude is wrong, it kind of, is it that it deems, it doesn't what you use, it kind of mutes, it mutes your strength. And so attitude is king. Attitude is key, and it determines how far you can go.
Yeah.
So, I've had a wonderful time. I honestly would love to keep you longer, but I'd like you to give us your final, closing remarks, as to this journey called strength. Because today we're just having a random gig. We're talking about the 4 domains. We've head off into attitude, and we're saying you all, everyone that will watching this or after now, should know their strengths and begin to get to the point of mastery. So tell us your closing statements on how how do you want to be remembered, on this strength discussion session. All right.
Absolutely. So my closing statement here really is around your success formula. So again, I will reiterate, having a clear understanding of what your strengths are, whether it's your top 5, your top 10, and if you are really bold, do your full 34. Get a clear understanding of what you're bringing to the table. Also, with all of your understanding of what you're bringing to the table, have a clear understanding of what impacts your attitude so that you can show up as your best self at all times. As Taiwo's mentioned, the key way to find out what your strengths are to take a Clifton strengths assessment, right? So go ahead and take the strengths assessment. If you haven't taken it, what are you waiting for? The other assessment that you can take multiple times that will help you to get a clear understanding of how your attitude is transforming so that your strengths can be recognized and fully realized is what I like to call the Energy Leadership Index assessment. And what makes it different from the Clifton Strengths Assessment is that, again, it's all about your attitude. Your attitude can change. Your strengths can grow. When you couple the 2 of them together, you'll see how far you go. Thank you so much for having me today.
Doug, look, you just made my day. But this is the first day of the month of April, and this is the first day of the quarter. So you can imagine how I'm starting my day. So today I made a boastful claim, and it wasn't boastful. It's like I came from a point of understanding that April is full, and you can imagine you just fed me, and I'm sure everybody listening has been totally wooed or wowed, by some of the things you have shared today. And I've learned a few things also, and I'm going to be very intentional about the learning. So the technical team, can you please display Dr. Margaret Alabi's details? I'm sure there are a few people that might want to be coached by her. She's not just a Gallup certified strength coach. She's also talking about the Energy Leadership Index assessment. And it's one test I need to also do because, we keep learning every day. And in this quarter, one of the things that we have said is claim your extraordinary life. And claim is an acronym. So you must have clarity. I'm sure a lot of people have had clarity today. You must learn. You must keep learning, all right? Then once you learn, apply what you've learned to align yourself, okay? And then introduce certain things or create some interventions or some improvements, all right? And then finally, what gets measured, keep measuring, because what gets measured gets done. It's been an amazing time having Dr. Alabi on this platform. I can't even say, who the best speaker or who the best discussant is, because every week on, people just play to their strengths. And I'm amazed and wowed by today's discussion. I really must say thank you to her. So in case you need to contact her, she's based in Atlanta. But yeah, she's African, and Trauma says very informative session. I only joined halfway. There's so much I can say. Looking forward to, so Trauma, great to have Trauma. So if you have any questions, I could just answer one question. Else we'll be ending this in 2 minutes because we respect people's lunch time, and because we are focused on people and business support, we can also now help. We must constantly help businesses to grow by ensuring that there's a reduced downtime when it comes to viewership or coming online. Okay, I've had a good time. I'm going to be having further discussion with you after now. But be rest assured, you have just wowed me. And for all those that joined us, some that were able to share their thoughts. I can only see some of the people on Zoom right now, but I see that there are other people on our other platforms. So if you need to do the test, they will drop a link for you to do the test. Strengths Africa is giving a discounted bundle.
Nice.
Please, once again, can we share doctors' contacts in case people need to do the energy leadership index assessment? The greatest room you can be is the room where you improve yourself. And like the Japanese methodology will say, Kaizen, continuous improvement. On that note, guys, I'd like to end this fantastic, memorable, in fact, indelibly memorable session with Dr. Margaret Alabi. And the rest assured, we're going to be bringing it out at some later time. And just get ready also, because if you have keyed in, like I said, for the reinvention program that is starting on the 1st of May, that's Saturday, all through the month of May, is going to be phenomenal. And except you want to transform yourself, all right, then don't sign up. So we're going to be having Dr. Alabi also on that platform. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say we have come to the end of today's session. Well, it's so hard to say goodbye, but we have to say goodbye anyway. And to all those that are watching, remember what I always say, you got it in you. Dr. Alabi, thank you. Thank you.